Hey everyone, this is Russ from Retro Game Core. Today we're going to talk about 3D printed grips for RG350 and RG351 devices. I've been lucky enough to test several of these, and so I want to show off some of the ones that I've been trying. And these grips were made by a designer named Werner Eidinger, who goes by the name of Lupus Worax Custom, or just Loop for short. And Loop sent me a bunch of these to try out, and honestly this is my first time ever working with anything that's been 3D printed before. And I kind of had low expectations going into it, but it turns out I really like these things. You know, not only are they ergonomic, but you can make some really unique design features with them. And so in today's video, I'm going to show off some of Loop's really clever designs, but then also show you where you can get the designs yourself if you have a 3D printer, or if you're interested in actually getting a 3D printer, I'll show you where to get those as well. So without any further delay, let's jump into it. Now, it took a few weeks for the box to get over here, and there was a moment where we were actually worried that it had gotten lost in the mail, but sure enough, it finally showed up. So let me show you what's inside. And I have to say, it's pretty funny the way that this was just all packaged. You know, it's just kind of open it up and it's just spilling with all these like Ziploc bags. It's pretty funny. So in addition to the grips, he also has made some retro arcade custom credits. We'll check those out in a second. And then here you go, this is what he sent me. So it has each of these grips in its own individual bag, and then also has the printout from his website that kind of describes it and has like the printing specifications, things like that. All in all, he sent over 7 different grips. So let's check out these custom arcade credits first. So these are pretty neat. They have Loop's logo on the front, which is a howling wolf as well as a wolf paw with the LWC in the bottom there. Now around it, it has the words, "Once a gamer, always a gamer," both in German and English. On the other side, you can see it has that one credit there, and it has a little gecko there at the top of the one, and then it's lined with different Pac-Man icons. So if you already have a 3D printer, all you have to do is go to Loop's page here on Thingiverse. And here you're going to find much more than grips. You're going to find different cases and things like that, as well as things for different models of devices. So once you find the grip you like, you just click on it, and then you can scroll down to the bottom, and you'll read a description, and then it'll also have printing instructions. Now, if you don't own a 3D printer, but you want one of these, what you can do is actually commission a 3D printing service, give them this file and the instructions, and they should be able to print it and send it to you. But Loop also recommended that you just check out 3D printers because they're actually surprisingly cheap. So the one that he used and the one that he recommends is $245 right now. And I'm sure there's sales and things like that as well. And given that the materials are also pretty cheap, this ends up being not a very expensive hobby. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, maybe think about it. Okay, let's move on to the grips themselves. We're going to start with the RG350 devices first. We'll start with the original RG350. Now here's the first grip here. He calls it the original RG350 gamepad holder. And Loop said that this one is modeled after a very rough Xbox 360 controller scan. You can see it has little felt like furniture buttons there that kind of keep everything in place. And it has a rough Ambernick logo on the back. And most of these grips have these little cavities inside of the grip part. And that's to help funnel the sound to make it sound more rich and bassy. And I was surprised to find that how well they work. And you know, when I see pictures of 3D printed things, it always has this kind of weird styration to it, but I was surprised to find that it feels very smooth in the hands. I kind of like this design. I like the roughness of it and the imperfections of it. Now Loop also wanted to mention that he printed some of these fairly quickly, so some of the designs are not perfect. So if you print it slowly, you may get better results. So it snaps on very snugly here, as you can see. And honestly, it feels very natural. You can see the left side has something broken off, but other than that, it feels really great. And because these 3D printed grips are so lightweight, you really don't notice the extra weight at all. One thing in particular about it is that it makes the shoulder buttons very easy to access. And to get it out, all you have to do is just slide it out. Okay, let's try the next one here. This one's called the Epic Ultra. And this one is also made from an Xbox 360 controller, but with a much more detailed base model. And I think it's pretty cool. He has both the LWC logo as well as the Retro Game Core logo. And obviously I'm a fan of that one, so that's pretty cool. And then in the back you can see it has a circuit pattern with the Ambernick logo. Now this one feels much more professional than the other one. Maybe this is a later model that he printed, but overall I really like it. And you can see those two little slots in the top there, they actually hold micro SD cards. You can have extra micro SD cards here. And the feel of this one is just great. Like it feels even better, and you can cup your entire hand around it. It's really great for like medium-sized hands and maybe even larger hands too. It does feel a lot like holding an Xbox 360 controller. The sound comes out really well out of the front here. And even though some of these controller grips are actually just test grips for when he was doing printing and stuff, they're really impressive. If you like to play longer gaming sessions, I think this is a really good fit for you. It feels really nice in the hands, and it doesn't have a lot of extra added weight. So this one's definitely a winner, and it's not just the Retro Game Core logo. I really like it. Okay, so now we're moving on to the Epic Ultra version for the RG350P. Now the size on this one is a little bit different, that's why it has a different grip for it, as well as those rubber pads on the back of it. He made those little slots for that as well. And as you can see, this also has slots for SD cards. But other than that, it seems very similar to the original. And yeah, just like with the other one, this one feels very good. It definitely makes your controller feel taller, like in general this is much taller than an Xbox 360 controller, but at the same time it feels very natural in the hands. And even though this is made for the RG350P model, I wanted to try my RG350M just in case. And it fits just fine as well. And maybe there's some slight imperfections in the sizing or whatever, but it works good for me. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the RG351P. We're going to start with this one, which he calls the Knuckles. And according to his website, this is actually the result of a failed print job. Basically, it didn't complete printing, but then he thought, hey, maybe this could work as like a low-profile controller. And it kind of looks a little bit like Knuckles' hands at the bottom, and that's what inspired him to call it the Knuckles. Now this definitely has a very unique shape, but honestly, holding it in the hands, it feels very comfortable. It's really easy to wrap your hands around the balls that are at the bottom of each of these controller grips. And just like with the other grips, it makes it very easy to use the shoulder buttons. It just kind of fits naturally in the center of your hand like that. Okay, moving on to this one. This one's very unique too. This one's called the H-Brick. And this one uses a special technology that he calls put your finger through the slot to get it out, which I thought was pretty funny. Now this one blocks your SD card as well as your reset button, so that's something you need to think about. But honestly, I don't think you're going to need to access that very often while you're playing. So when I first put this in, I thought, man, this is not going to be very comfortable to hold. But you know, there's two things I kind of noticed with it. Number one, it's very sturdy. You can prop this up and have no problem with it. But the other is that you actually can wrap your fingers around it very easily. And it feels pretty comfortable. Even though it has kind of this square pattern, it's actually a very nice fit. And even though all of these controllers can actually stand up on their own, this one feels very sturdy. Like it could work as both a stand as well as your controller grip. Now it doesn't have any of those sound cavities like the others, so you're not going to have that improved sound, but it still sounds pretty great. I was pleasantly surprised with this one. When I first pulled it out of the bag, I was like, what is he thinking? And when I put it together, I was like, well, maybe he's just smarter than me. I don't know. It's pretty great. Okay, so this is also an RG351P one. This is called the Facelift. So it seems like a very basic controller grip. And what I like about it is that it doesn't use a lot of plastic. It fits nice and snugly, but as you can see on the back, it doesn't take up a lot of space there. This one feels like a happy medium. Like it's not as big as that Epic Ultra one, which is like an Xbox 360 controller, but it's not quite a low profile controller grip either. I think this one would be really handy for like traveling. Like it's smaller, but it also feels really good. Now, one thing I was curious with these grips is whether or not thumbstick grips would improve the experience as well. So I'm going to try these ones from Skull & Co, which I have reviewed before. And yeah, they actually improve the experience even more because they improve the analog sensitivity, so it feels like you're in even better control. I really like the combination of this facelift grip and then these larger analog stick grips as well. And admittedly, we're getting far away from like the original intent of these handhelds, like the portability, the pocketability, and stuff like that. But if you're going to play a longer gaming session or you're going to play a first-person shooter game, these are going to be really nice additions. Okay, so the last one here is the RG351P version of the Epic Ultra. Same thing with the other two versions of the Epic Ultra. This is modeled after that same Xbox 360 controller. It has that same circuit design and then the cool Retro Game Core logo, which isn't on all of them. This is just the ones he sent me. And like I mentioned before, this definitely has a lot more plastic than that other one. But at the same time, it feels much more luxurious and comfortable. So altogether, when you look at all 7 of these, this one is definitely my favorite. Because I feel like if you use a controller grip, you might as well go big or go home, right? Like you just might as well just go for it. And this is the big one. And you put that together with those analog stick grips, and it's just a really pleasurable experience. It's like holding an Xbox controller, but then you actually just look at the Xbox controller to play your games, and that's kind of a cool concept. So before we wrap things up here, let me just show you how the SD card slot works. So you just take your micro SD card and you just put it right in. Super easy. Okay, so these are all 7 controller grips here. And I'm going to show off my 3 favorite first. So this facelift one, I really like it because it's kind of low profile, but also kind of a nice middle ground. And I really love this 351p Epic Ultra one as well. It just pushes everything to the max. I think that Epic and Ultra are probably the best words for it. And at the same time, I also like this other one for the 350p because I can use it with my 350M, which is the device I probably use more than my 350p because of the improved screen. So when it comes down to it, I really like those 3 grips, even though I like all 7 of them. But at the end of the day, I don't have room for 7 grips in my house. So what I want to do is I want to give away these 4 remaining grips. We have the H-Brick and Knuckles for the 351p, and then the Epic Ultra and the original holder for the RG350. So if you're interested in getting any of these 4 controller grips, just follow the link that I have in my video description to enter into the giveaway. And all you have to do is just say which of the 4 you like. And then in about a week, I'm just going to pick a winner from each of these. And because these are so light, I'm going to go ahead and open up shipping to anywhere in the world. So if you're anywhere in the world and you want to have one of these, all you have to do is just follow that link and sign up. My only request is that you only do 1 entry per person and make sure you put which grip you want to have. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. And let me know below what you think of these 3D printed grips. Is this something you would like to do? Do you have a 3D printer? Have you tried one before? Have you had success with it? This is my first time experiencing any of this stuff, so I'd love to hear what you have to say. Be sure to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and we will see you next time. Happy gaming!